So as you all know, Barry Weiss has been in the news lately because apparently CBS is interested in throwing about $250 million in her direction for the Free Press, which is, her so-called news outlet. And really the idea behind it is the new management at CBS, they want to have like an Israel monitor, somebody who can like guide the coverage and make sure that CBS doesn't go too pro-Palestine. And Tim Dillon did a whole thing on this the other day, and he was like ripping into Barry Weiss. And the whole point of the outlet is to run cover for the Israeli genocide. In fact, she has ran articles basically saying that the starvation is a myth, right? Well, one of the people who works for the Free Press is this guy by the name of Coleman Hughes, who I can only describe as a younger black Sam Harris. That's the role that he's like carved out for himself. And he first got into politics by basically being this young black intellectual who is opposed to, I think, affirmative action. Actually, I don't remember if it was reparations or affirmative action. It was one or the other. I don't remember which one it was. But now he's decided he's going to be a genocide apologist. That's what he's going to do. And in the midst of innocent Palestinian civilians, women, children being starved to death right in front of our eyes, he decided, what better time than now to get out there and remind people that we're dealing with good and evil, and the good are the Israelis, and the evil are the Palestinians. Let's go ahead and listen to this, and I'm warning you in advance. I actually think listening to this is worse than literally looking at some of the carnage that we've seen on the ground in Gaza. That's how putrid and disgusting this is, what you're about to hear. So here's your warning in advance. You might break something, right? If you got some glass nearby, move it away. You might end up breaking it out of anger, because this is rough. Here we go.
I believe that in the war between Israel and Hamas, the Israelis are the good guys and Hamas are the bad guys.
Even just that framing. He said in the war between Israel and Hamas. He doesn't say Israel and the Palestinians. He says Israel and Hamas. He's doing that on purpose. The conflation of Hamas with Palestinians. We're looking at literally minimum 60,000, but that's a massive undercount. Really, it's about 180,000 or more dead people. There's only 30 or 40,000 Hamas members in Gaza. There were 2.3 million people in Gaza. Like 90% of the dead are innocent, and this is how he frames it. All right, I'm going to try not to pause every 5 seconds, but we'll see how that goes.
That may seem like a cartoonish way to describe the situation, or it might seem like an obscene opinion given the images of emaciated children that you've probably seen over the past few weeks, but it's still the truth. And it's a truth that's incredibly easy to lose sight of amid the day-to-day coverage of this war. In my view, the deepest tragedy in the war right now is that both sides have committed war crimes, and in both cases, those war crimes are falling on Palestinian civilians. The truth, of course, is that every war features war crimes, but usually each army commits those crimes against the enemy's population. In this case, the Palestinians of Gaza have received a double dose of the excesses of each side. But here's the crucial point. That doesn't make both sides morally equal. Let me begin by making something clear. When I say that the Israelis are the good guys in this war, I'm not saying that everything the IDF does is justifiable. Far from it.
Of course.
And I'm not saying that Israeli soldiers haven't committed war crimes. Certainly they have. What I mean is that Israel's goals as a country are far more benign and ethical than Hamas's goals.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, what this shows me is that there is nothing that people won't debate. Like, you could be in 1945 looking at the atrocities of Nazi Germany, and there would be some dipshit contrarian going, well, let me interject to say that this is actually a little more morally complicated than you might think, and if you look at it from this perspective, it's like, shut the fuck up, you fucking nerd. What benign Israeli, in the midst of a total genocide and ethnic cleansing, and announcing that they're going to steal all of the land in Gaza and reoccupy it. They just announced that. In what world are these intentions benign? Yeah, I'm wiping out your entire people and stealing the land. Benignly. Altruistically. That's how I'm doing. Like,
Israel's goal is to live in peace with its neighbors. Now, you can focus on the far-right faction within Israel that wants more than that, but it's just that. It's one faction within a democracy. No more representative of the will of Israelis than AOC or Marjorie Taylor Greene represents the will of Americans. By and large, Israelis don't want to conquer Gaza. In fact, they left Gaza voluntarily in 2005.
Lie, 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 lie. They removed the settlements and then made it an open-air prison and surrounded the place and put them on a diet and didn't allow in food and determine how much food can get in. And they don't allow them to have a military, and they don't allow them to have an airport and control their airspace. In no real sense did they leave Gaza. It's not like, oh, we're giving them full independence and sovereignty. No, they removed the settlements in Gaza, and now, by the way, they're literally bringing them back now. That's what they're doing now. But they removed the settlements, and they just surrounded Gaza and locked it down. Don't try to frame this like it was some benign move.
And they don't want to wipe Gaza off the map. If they wanted that, they could have done it any time in the last several decades.
They're doing that, like literally right now. I just covered on the show, we got from Prime Minister Netanyahu's office, the decision has been made. We are reoccupying Gaza. We are taking the Strip. That's the reality. This is total fucking fantasy land, what this guy's saying. Total fantasy land. Totally disconnected from the reality of the situation.
With their advantage and firepower, they could do it now in a matter of weeks. And you should ask yourself why they don't. Hamas, on the other hand, does want to conquer Israel and wipe it off the map.
And they're going to do it with their bottle rockets. The 17 remaining Hamas members are going to do it with their bottle rockets, guys. That's what's going to happen. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Israel is backed by the world's most powerful military, and they are acting on their worst desires, wiping Gaza off the map completely. And here you are, and you're tut-tutting and finger-wagging at the tiny resistance which has been broken and shattered, and all the civilians who've been killed there. Like, this is depraved, bro.
They would be happy to do what they did on October 7th to the entire country. That's what I mean when I say that the two sides in this war are not the same. There is a huge moral asymmetry between them, and that matters.
All right, let's look into that claim, right? Well, one side is like totally genocidal, and the other one they're not even genocidal, bro. They just want to like live in peace with their neighbors. Oh, is that so? Let's look at some polling data that just came out of the Israeli population. Oh, that's right. Look at this. 82% of Jewish Israelis support expelling Palestinians from Gaza. 82%. That is 82% on the record being pro-ethnic cleansing. I would venture a guess that this number is far above and beyond that of literally any other country on earth right now. Like, this is the most bloodthirsty country on earth right now. They are in the midst of a manic break. You're not going to find, there's not going to be, no other country at this moment is going to say, yeah, 82% of us support ethnically cleansing this territory. Like, that's not going to happen. But there it is happening. That population is radicalized. 56% support expelling Palestinian citizens of Israel. So Arabs in Israel, more than half say, yeah, kick them out. We don't want them. We only want Jewish Israelis here. And then, ready for this? 47% of Israelis agree that, quote, when conquering an enemy city, the Israel Defense Forces should act as the Israelites did in Jericho under Joshua's command, killing all its inhabitants. 47% said yes. Half of the Israeli population explicitly supports killing them all. You will find more quotes and more comments that are outright genocidal from Israeli military and political leaders than you will from even Hamas military and political leaders. There are more of those comments from Israeli military and political leaders, for sure. In fact, I hope you got some time on your hands, because we're going to go ahead and dig into that right now. Look at this. Here we go. So this is Netanyahu talking about the story of Amalek in the Bible. Quote, now go and smite Amalek, utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. In other words, kill them all. You'll notice something, guys. When Israeli leaders speak in Hebrew, they're more honest. And this was him speaking in Hebrew, and this was him saying, kill them all. Kill them all. But we're just getting started. Here we go. Remember, guys, according to Coleman Hughes, one side is purely genocidal. The other side is not. Even though even though he's actually correct, he just has it inverted. He has it exactly backwards. Because guess what? There is a genocide happening. There is an ethnic cleansing happening. They announced they're going to take the entire Gaza Strip. They also are going to annex the entire West Bank. They're doing it right in front of our eyes. And every step of the way, idiots like this are running cover for them, acting like, oh, well, people are morally confused about this because Hamas is pure evil and Israel just wants to live in peace with their neighbors by wiping them off the map and killing them all and shipping them off to Libya and saying insane things like you're about to hear now.
It's an entire nation out there that is responsible. It's not true. This rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved, it's absolutely not true.
אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
That was the we're fighting human animals and we're acting accordingly thing. And we're going to cut off all food, fuel, water, electricity. That's what that quote was.
Very puzzled by the constant concern which the world is showing for the Palestinian people and is actually showing for these horrible, inhuman animals who have done the worst atrocities that this century has seen.
We're fighting against human animals. Gaza won't return to what it was before. We will eliminate everything. Human beasts are dealt with accordingly. Israel has imposed a total blockade on Gaza. There are Israelis who describe the Palestinians in Gaza as animals, or less than animals. I do not equate them with animals because that is an insult to animals. Finish them off quickly and leave no memory of them. Erase them, their families, mothers, and children. These animals can no longer live. If you have an Arab neighbor, don't wait until he comes into your house, enter his house, and shoot. Creating a severe humanitarian crisis in Gaza is a necessary means to achieve the goal. That is from the former head of the Israeli National Security Council. Quote, Gaza will become a place where no human being can exist. That's from a former head of the Israeli National Security Council.
תראה, לצורך אתה חושב שאנחנו יכולים להרוג מאות אלפי פלסטינים ברצועת עזה והדבר הזה יעבור? תראה, עכשיו בתקשורת הזרה יוצאת הודעה בשם ישראל שמיליון פלסטינים כבר ירדו מדרום הרצועה דרומה, וכל מי שנשאר שם נחשב כמחבל.
Invest this energy in one thing, erasing all of Gaza from the face of the earth. This is an Israeli Knesset member. The Gazan monsters will fly to the southern fence and try to enter Egyptian territory or they will die. Gaza should be erased. This is from another Knesset member. Well, a far-right minister. Nuking Gaza is an option. Population should go to Ireland or deserts. An Israeli minister says, use doomsday weapons against Gaza. That's another way of saying nukes. Israeli officials call for doomsday nuclear missile option. Annihilate Gaza now. Now. Gaza needs to turn into Dresden, yes. He's an Israeli politician, by the way. How many American soldiers were killed in the battle for Hiroshima? Israel has dropped 18,000 tons of bombs on Gaza, 1.5 times more than bombs dropped on Hiroshima. You get the gist of it. This is not even all of them, by the way, guys. The land is ours, the whole country, all of it, including Gaza, including Lebanon, the whole of the Promised Land. We're finishing off Gaza. And this is a great point to end on here, is that last point from the military figure, where, Lebanon is ours too, and this is ours, and that is ours. What Coleman Hughes doesn't know, or knows and doesn't care to tell you the truth about, is that there is a broader project at work here. And the broader project is called the Greater Israel Project. And the idea is, not only are we going to take over all of Gaza, so wipe them out, genocide them, and ethnically cleanse whoever remains, right? Not only are we going to do that, we're also going to take over the West Bank. We're also going to take over large swaths of Syria, which, oh yeah, look at that. They just did that as well. As soon as Bashar al-Assad fell, the Israeli government took over more and more territory in Syria. And then the new government in Syria, led by a former al-Qaeda guy, by the way, was trying to make peace with Israel to say, hey, we're cool, right? Israel bombed Damascus a number of times and let him know, like, no, we're going to take over as much of this territory as we fucking want, right? So take over Gaza, take over the West Bank, take over large swaths of Syria, as they just did. As you could see there, they were also saying a similar thing about Lebanon. They're trying to create the Greater Israel Project, which means they have more power in the region, they have more control of the region, they tame everybody around them effectively, and they're trying to make themselves a superpower. That's what they're trying to do. Right now, they're dependent on U.S. money, U.S. weapons, U.S. support, but that's what the goal is. And this idea that, oh, Hamas and the Palestinians, they're insane religious extremists, but on the Israeli side, that's not really the case. It's like, I don't know how out to lunch are you to not realize that the Ben Gvir ideology and the Smotrich ideology, that's the ideology that's running the country. That's the ideology of Netanyahu. He might pretend like I'm not as extreme as these guys, but if he gives them what they want all the time and constantly caves to them as he does, then he is as extreme as them, because functionally, he's doing everything they want to do. And he's literally leading a genocide as we speak right now. He's up on corruption charges, and when he was in the fucking courtroom, he launched an attack on Syria so that he could get out of the courtroom, and then the court has to come back after the break in September. So this whole time, he's trying to stay in power. This whole time, he's doing dirty tricks to try to get out of accountability for his corruption. He's surrounded by insane religious extremists, and he himself is an insane religious extremist. And they're doing a live stream genocide 24/7. And this fucking idiot is out here doing the Hamas thing at this late date. There literally is not a number of schools that Israel has bombed and hospitals that they've bombed that would have made Coleman Hughes not make this video. Like, they literally bombed every hospital in Gaza. Literally every single one. Over 20, I think over 30, actually. They bombed all of them. And that didn't stop Coleman Hughes from making this video and saying that Israel represents good and Hamas, the Palestinians, represent evil, right? Which goes to show you, this is just hack shit. This is total hack shit. Israel bombed schools. They bombed hospitals. They bombed UN buildings. They bombed World Central Kitchen workers. There's literal mass rape going on of Palestinian hostages at the prisons. And then when one person was investigated for a rape that was caught on camera, you had Israelis in the street doing a right to rape protest, arguing that this guy should be let go and that this guy's a hero because he raped a Palestinian hostage. This is what we're talking about. There was a poll that showed only 4% of the Israeli population was against, said that the IDF went too far. Only 4% said that. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? This is a country in the midst of a manic breakdown, of a snap. They've gone full genocidal. They've gone full psychopathic. And now we're experiencing the fallout of that. And you can see they're just destroying all of Gaza. And at the same, I just can't imagine. And by the way, Mehdi makes this point well. Let me read what he says. He says, imagine saying this with a straight face as the Israeli government openly discusses annexing Gaza. They announced they were going to do it, making it Jewish and ethnically cleansing the Palestinian population while killing hundreds of them daily. This is why Israel's reputation is done over in the wider world. Even their best propagandists can't do anything more than tell ridiculous, demonstrably nonsensical lies. They used to be good at propaganda. No more. As I talk to you guys right now, one of the dialogues online is you have these psychopathic Zionists on Twitter claiming that the New York Times faked a picture of starving Gazans. Faked a picture. It turns out that's total bullshit. Of course they didn't fake the picture. They're starving Gazans, right? But this is how depraved and how low they're willing to go. Just like how a bunch of idiots and assholes said that, oh, this picture that was taken, I forget, it might have been Washington Post, the picture of this baby who's just like skin and bones. They said, oh, but the baby has a medical condition, so it's misleading to say that, that they're starving. And it's like, this is ridiculous. Like, we're at the point where this is preposterous. This is ridiculous. Like, to make these arguments, like, you should be ashamed of yourself to make these arguments. The medical condition that the baby even has is because the mother couldn't get adequate nutrition when pregnant with the baby. And yes, they're also still starving. We've had, about 200 or more people starve to death now? 200 or more. It's happening right in front of our eyes. Like, this is, to deny it is literal, it's literal Holocaust denial is what it is. And so I consider what Coleman was saying here, this is like Holocaust denial type shit. That's where we're at. That's what this is. To still do your bullshit like, oh, I'm so intelligent because I'm whispering into the microphone. I'm talking in a low, calm voice. Therefore, since I'm giving you genocide denial ASMR, take me seriously. Aren't I being so serious when I say that morally there is no equivalence and one side is good and one side is evil? Well, that's true. It's just not in the way you think it is, Coleman. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.